So if I look at it from an IT perspective, from the IT industry is certainly going to benefit from the growth in the region. If you look at all of the countries around the region, whether it be Saudi Arabia, the UAE, the Qatar, the Gulf territories, growth is an integral part of the engine, and we certainly expect to see that coming through. The industry is going to benefit from the region. All right, the region is growing, the region is dynamic, the region is pushing the boundaries. And as a result, the IT organizations, the industry end-to-end, irrespective of where you play in that industry, will benefit. Right? That doesn't mean we go back to pre-2008, the pre-crisis years, where spend, irrespective of which industry you're operating in, there was no real, there were certain things that were being done that didn't really have sound business footing and business judgment. All right, and I think there were excesses that were right across the region. All right, from that perspective, I think we are seeing a far more sustainable growth path and a far more sustainable economic development across the region. And personally, I'm excited about it. I think it's going to. I think there's some great opportunity for many individuals, many companies. But it's not, by simply being here, doesn't mean that you're going to be successful. I think there's some different issues. All right, there's some different fundamentals. If you look at some of this region, it has a massive benefit in that it produces a product that the world needs, not just wants, the world needs it. Oil and gas, petroleum, the petroleum-based products, the planet is going to continue buying those in volumes for certainly in the near term, and certainly into the medium and long term. There will still be a significant sustained business just in that industry. And the spin-off around it, and the diversification of the industries in the Gulf, and I'll use the Gulf as a broader Middle East, and interchangeable. In the Middle East, the building of things like hospitality and the diversification of the economies of the Middle East really does offer significant opportunity irrespective of the industry you operate in. Products, services, solutions, they are IT words. If we're going to, where's the industry going? This industry is going to drive hard at areas of interoperability of technologies, open standards. Open standards really is now no longer a buzzword, but any company that buys proprietary-based solutions, all right, is literally buying a more expensive and less flexible solution moving into the future. Now, there may be one or two core application sets that fit very well into that space, but most of the industry, most of the IT applications, most of the workloads, and really workloads are the critical component. And companies don't buy IT technology for the sake of IT technology. They buy it for workload. And the questions that companies are asking is, what workloads are we running? And they're not defining the technology and the environment and the underlying infrastructure, services, support, software, and all of it that enables the workload. Because at the end of the day, the workload works, company benefits, and people are trying to be really innovative in terms of the kinds of workloads that they are operating. Maybe look at hospitality as an industry. We are so focused on superb service that the IT organization in hospitality has to have the same mindset. And that interoperability of technology, that ability to provision workloads incredibly quickly, flexible. And the difference between now and 2008 is that in pre-2008, money wasn't necessarily at the forefront of decisions. If it was expensive, it was okay. Today, there's a lot more focus in terms of the cost effectiveness. And cost effectiveness you can break out into two elements. One is the capital component. What does the initial purchase actually cost us to go and buy? But the second and much more important is what is the long-term cost and operational expense that you are going to incur as a company. And I think if you look at the maturity of organizations, not all companies are as mature in that decision-making process as the other. But you really are seeing a lot of people driving that forward. If you take the Middle East as a region, amazing technology gets driven out of here. You know, a lot of people, if you look at Dubai, a lot of people celebrated 2020. 2020 as a single event is simply part of a much bigger picture for the UAE, for Dubai, and for the broader region. Right, the diversification into hospitality, you know, the diversification of the oil and gas industry into more value-added components. You look at stuff that they're doing at Mazda down in, and stuff down in Abu Dhabi. Some incredible work being done. You look at it across the region. Amazing things are happening in Oman, in Qatar, in Bahrain's, and in Saudi Arabia. Saudi is driving massively at things like education, healthcare. As are all of the other governments around the region. And again, you look at these smart city initiatives, you look at the implementation of Wi-Fi, the access to the internet that is being driven across this region, it's astounding, and it's world leading. We often are put into an emerging markets group, but frankly a lot of what this region does, world leading. And frankly a lot of countries around the world would be incredibly envious of actually what is happening in this region. There are a number of areas from a Dell perspective that's a focus. You could encapsulate it in a couple of areas. One is the client solutions. We're in the client business. So Dell is a client and has been a company that provides client solutions to the markets, and we've been incredibly successful across this region for many years, and I have full intention to remain incredibly successful for Dell across this region in the client solutions. And client solutions are more than just the desktop, the PC, and the tablet. It is about, there's a migration and a move and a very, very strong opportunity in things like desktop virtualization and virtualization of the desktop. We're having many discussions, and we have a lot of engagements in that particular space. That's on the client solutions. If we look at the enterprise Dell over the last 4 to 5 years, we've bought 20 plus companies, primarily in the enterprise space. And that is around, and a full feature set now from Dell in the servers, networking, as well as our storage portfolio and offering. Then we have a software company that is one of a very significant opportunity for Dell. We've bought several assets in that space, Quest being our largest asset that we purchased, Quest software. And if you talk to many customers, they have elements of Quest within their environment. And then from a services perspective, we have some very significant services engagement across the Middle East. That we're incredibly proud of, and primarily in the healthcare environment, but there are other areas around BPO, apps modernization, companies that are migrating from XP onto new Windows platforms, companies that are trying to migrate off of mainframe environments, okay? Because companies that have mainframes and proprietary-based solutions typically are going to sit there and have a challenge from a cost perspective, all right? Much more expensive maintenance-wise, and companies are starting to struggle to find people to actually use and employ that are interested. Actually, if you look at Generation X, Generation Y, there are fewer and fewer IT employees that actually want to go and work on legacy type systems. All right, so that's becoming quite an interesting dynamic. But if you look at the investments across the region, I'll say from a Dell perspective, we've recently privatized, and the focus much more. And it always has been a customer-centric organization. But the focus around customers is incredible in this company, and I think that's going to really put us in a really good position for this year coming and moving forward. And customers for Dell in this part of the world and across the globe are end user customers, the actual people that use our technology, but the channel is a critical element for us in terms of capability, capacity to meet and to reach our customers. And that's where our enterprise solutions group and the products in the networking, storage, and service space become very, very interesting to the channel. And my focus and our company's focus will be around developing capability, capacity in the channel in the year ahead. It really is an ongoing environment. Dell has been in the enterprise space and the data center space for many years. So this is not about us having a new product and taking a new product forward. But this is about us saying we have a channel, an existing channel, and how do we build the capability and the competencies of that existing channel, as well as taking new opportunities for additional channel partners in our business. All right, and that's a real focus around it. And there's some fantastic storage partners that are out there, and we're really interested in developing and building those relationships with partners that potentially historically have not been Dell partners, because they've operated in areas that we potentially have not been operating in. And as we bring the channels together of all of these acquisitions, so whether it be Sonicwall, whether it be Quest, whether it be some of our networking product sets, we suddenly have a much more significant value proposition to the channel, because at the end of the day, the channel wants to have a simple business experience. They sit in exactly the same position that the vendors sit in. How do they drive growth profitably and have a value proposition that in some way or shape or form differentiates them from their competitors? And from a Dell perspective, we firmly believe that across our channel programs, as well as across the full stack of our actual technology solutions, we have a massively good value proposition for the channel to take forward to their customer base as well. I'd love to say it was 100%. There's always work to be done. But if we look at, I have an amazingly privileged job. I work with a team of very dynamic, amazing people and channel partners that do amazing things every day. I run a call every Sunday, and every Sunday we talk about customers and our new wins and the opportunities that are being seen out in that market. And there's exponential growth in terms of data centers, end-to-end data centers. Customers are trusting Dell with that end-to-end data center decision that they are making, and it's just amazingly pleasing. Now, we can never take that for granted. So when you say how well are we, and could I put a ratio to it? You can't. Don't ever take customers for granted. I can't take channel for granted. We can't take customers for granted. Right? And unless we exceed expectation continuously, open lines of communication, and deliver technology solutions that enable those workloads that I spoke about, customers will move away to companies that they believe may have a better solution. Having said, where are we today? We've just come off of our best quarters ever in our enterprise group. So I'm very bullish. I'm very excited and optimistic in terms of the year ahead for our company. It's an interesting question. We are in that integration phase. The first level of integration was simply to call Sonicwall Dell Sonicwall. So if you meet anyone from the security environment, Dell Sonicwall, Dell Boomi, Dell Force 10, Dell Compellent, etc. As we move and integrate the technologies and the products, you may well see some of the original brand names becoming less and less important. We acquired technology, sometimes just for the technology, but sometimes you also acquire the brand that comes along with it. And those brands have some tremendous brand equity and brand value in the market, and it certainly wouldn't be, in the short term, is not the strategy to destroy brand equity. Well, my simple answer would be to say when we engage with customers against our competition, we will beat them more times than we lose. All right? So I'm quite happy. I hope our competitors are confused as to what we are and what we are doing. Our focus is on customers, our channel, and on winning. That's it.